have you ever had the opportunity yet to work with an intimacy coordinator or intimacy director at all? Or
I have, yes.
Okay.
It was. I can't wait to work with you.
Okay. Today's guest is Jonny Labey, who has appeared as David in Leon Lopez's hit movie Soft Lad. He's played Paul Cocker in Eastenders. Jonny is also known for being an incredible dancer and singer, and since leaving Eastenders has appeared in productions of Strictly Ballroom and ITV shows such as Dance 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 and Celebrity X Factor. He's also been a judge on the hit BBC show Taking the Next Step. Jonny can also be seen currently on our screens playing Rex in Hollyoaks. Welcome, Jonny, to Intimacy 360.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very professional, very comfortable.
Oh, very, very good.
Setup.
Oh, well, there
This
we
is
go.
amazing.
We aim to please. Thank you so much for coming. As I said in my intro about you, you've played so many different characters. And I'm sure you've had your fair share of intimacy and simulated sex and nudity maybe throughout your entire career. How do you prepare yourself for such moments physically and mentally?
I think it's a duality, really. It's like, you know, if you're having to, I mean, EastEnders, I had my top off a lot, you know, like they don't ask me that as much anymore these days, so unfortunately.
Why?
Come on. No, but I mean, you do.
Nobody's ever asked me.
you have just things in place, and just, I mean, I've been through a variety of different scenarios, whether that's, you know, smaller jobs, bigger jobs, or, you know, film, TV, theatre, whatever it is. And each of them very unique, but it's so important to have like a ground base, not just for the performer, but for the crew, but also for the, you know, the care of the project. You know, like you've got these big companies and insurances and stuff,
course,
financial and emotional.
Yes.
And they each need to be treated with like real care and precision, really, and just making sure that, you know, that foundation is in, just to set a standard going forward. Really.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's sorry, I'm just bashing away your
That's all right.
equipment. I'm just so excited. This is
So with actual, obviously you were in movies like Soft Lad, which is such a beautiful movie. If anybody hasn't seen it, go and see it. It's a beautiful movie.
It's very dear.
It is. It's a lovely movie. And how did you approach working on that movie?
I was kind of just, I was still at college at the time.
So this is like 2014, 15 or?
2014, yeah, 2000, like 10 years ago.
Woohoo! 10 years ago! Time flies when you're having fun.
And that's actually a really beautiful example of how I've carried on my treating and my, you know, care with intimacy and all that is working with Daniel Brocklebank, because also knowing that it was my first time ever actually kissing a guy, you know.
Because you were playing a gay character.
Playing a gay role, and there was that, as well as playing the lead in a feature, as well as even doing a feature or even doing
which
a
is
film.
all exciting, and you're there.
It's just all brilliant.
Yeah.
And the care that got taken in that scene is something that I mentioned quite a lot, really, to people in these scenarios, is that it was taken like, right, we're going to move to that counter, and then why don't I take off your jacket? Oh, no, you take off mine. Yeah, that's great, we'll do that. And then why don't I then pick you up and then pick you up onto that? So it was done in like a kind of choreography.
Yeah, conversations, communication.
And then it's 3, 2, 1 action, and then you end up with stubble rash, which I hadn't.
Welcome to the world of stubble rash.
I hadn't taken that into account.
That's
but
really
all the other things I had, and it just puts that care, that ease. It allows you to finish the scene and carry on building with that camaraderie as a team. If everything's done, I mean, it's like doing a fight scene. I'm in so many fight scenes at the minute, and the same amount of care in a fight scene, so that you don't feel like you've been in a fight, is the same sort of care that you need going into it. So everyone's got this assumption that intimacy scenes are fiery, sweaty, sexy, hot. Like, I'm telling you now, they're beautifully organised,
executed,
and simple, and actually quite unemotional in terms of, you know, arousal.
Yes.
But they
where you've got a bit of close set protocols in place, but you're doing a cruise show, you've got still people who need to be there You go.
The cruise show's the worst, though. Oh my God. We did a project recently. My girlfriend Margie, she was producing a music video for a wonderful artist, Laura Aldwin, and it was assumed because we're together, you know, like we are, and this was quite a point to prove, really, in many ways, that even though we are madly in love, and even though there is that story of that relationship happening there already, we had to do a scene where we were underneath some covers, and you know, we were kind of like falling madly in love and all this sort of stuff. And obviously there was no intimacy director needed necessarily for this project. But still, the atmosphere and the strange, like it felt strange because you're in a room with loads of people. You got a cameraman, like kind of weirdly Hugo, a really fantastic DOP, sort of like right behind Margie, and I'm like, why is there another dude in the bed with Margie? And I was like, this is weird. And then we took the covers off, and there's just a room filled with people. And we were like, this is so strange.
This is why I think it's really important to separate, like when you are playing, because even if you're in a scene with somebody like you're married to or relationship with, it's almost like that, having to have that separation of character and personal, you know, professional and personal, and going, okay, so we're stepping into this moment as characters and treating it like that. And also the rules still apply exactly the same, even with intimacy and simulated sex. Just because you may be doing a simulated sex scene with maybe your husband or wife or whatever it may be, they still have to have barriers, intimacy garments. They can't, because it's SAG-AFTRA ruling, and all these things are there to protect all the actors, even if they are in a real relationship. Because you went when you was in EastEnders, I might think you played a gay character in there as well.
Yeah.
So do you feel like doing the film Soft Lad sort of set you up a little bit? It helped you a little bit to go, okay, so when you first set, because you know, as a young actor, setting foot on EastEnders, one of the biggest soaps we've ever had, and then going, okay, then you've got the anti going, oh, actually, and I'm also playing a gay character. So at least you played a gay character before, so you'd had a little bit of a...
Yeah, I mean, they were both coming out stories. One was, I was, you know, facilitating a coming out story, and then the other one was that, actually no, I was trying to facilitate both coming out stories. Soft Lad was my sister's husband that was, you know, struggling with his sexuality, and then this, so it's very similar kind of storylines. But again, I mean,
coming of age, finding yourself, exploring and navigating that.
But the importance of going through and doing like the intimacy stuff, like I said, it's the same as doing like a fight scene. You know, it should be treated with the same sort of care, because, you know, one wrong swing and, you know, it could end up
physically or mentally hurt.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you've obviously done intimate scenes, and obviously back then there was an intimacy practice. Have you ever had the opportunity yet to work with an intimacy coordinator or intimacy director at all? Or
I have, yes. Okay. It was. I can't wait to work with you.
Okay. So you've had an interesting experience, but I said.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what project it was.
No, please don't.
But, no. But it was funny because.
And is this more recent, a few years back, or?
This was a few years, maybe. Five or so.
Okay, so
now I'm not going to get specific to the time frame.
No. But also remember, I think this is interesting. Saying like 5 years ago, this is only when intimacy directors were really starting to go out and work. So I would turn around and say most probably that would have been at sort of the beginning of people going out and working and finding their feet and working out what it is and what it isn't as well. I think there's an element of that.
I think because I'd had that experience with Dan Brocklebank, where he just walked me through, and it was that kind of step-by-step process that really meant a lot to me at the time. I've always tried to carry that forward with anyone that I'm working with, whether it's just a kissing scene, whether it's girl, guy.
I love you say just a kissing scene.
Just a kissing scene, or whether we're like, throwing each other in a toilet.
Because I always go, for me, I always go, it's never just, because like kissing can be so intimate.
Oh yeah.
Like for me, I go, choreographing,
It's very true.
I've known actors where I'm literally going, okay, we're doing reverse cowgirl, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that, and they're fine with it. When it comes to kissing, they're like, oh!
Yeah.
And the kissing they find more difficult than some of the simulated sex.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, it's also there's difference with doing it in theatre and difference in doing it in film.
Well,
you can't really not do a full. You can't just do like a lips only kiss in a film where you're like.
When they've got a close up, this is the thing.
Like Bridgerton and stuff like that. Like the scenes are pretty alive.
Oh, they're amazing, and Lizzie Tolbert, who does all the intimacy on that, is like phenomenal. And with the kissing,
how does it work if you can see bare bum? Margie was asking this the other day. She wants to ask this question on behalf of it.
So if you've got something,
do you have?
So you have an intimacy garment. So for instance, if you're doing a shot, if you're doing a rear shot, say you're doing a scene where you're in bed with somebody, you're standing up and walking away from the bed. So your scene partner is seeing you get out of bed from the front,
right?
But the camera may be from behind. So we want a full wide shot of rear. So you've got an intimate garment that is basically for, if it's for genitalia for a male identified person, you can literally have, it's like
a cod piece.
Well, basically, it's like a
cod piece. What am I, Shakespearean?
Cod piece.
A cod piece.
Bring me my cod piece.
Bring me my piece.
And basically, it's like a drawstring little bag.
Right.
And and then also you have a piece of material then also goes over that. So you actually don't see just a shape. And then we use tape, K-tape and tape, depending obviously if you're going into water, because you use different tape for that. And therefore, that goes like there.
It's like one of those ones that you wear when you get a spray tan.
Well, basically, exactly, but an industrial version, but still comfortable. But you can get the ones like that.
Those things don't leave much to the imagination.
Exactly.
They don't cover up much.
No, they don't.
You used to have to get the spray
just like that, and now move.
Oh, sorry.
To the left, to the right. Exactly. Yeah. How do you navigate conversations when you pick up a script, like I just said, and do you quite happily go up to directors or choreographers, and when you see something in the script, you think, okay, I need to discuss this. Do you feel that you can?
I mean, yeah. Currently on Hollyoaks, they're anything that's a part of like a big, company or running show that's been going a long time. They've got all of those things in place beautifully, because they really do have to, as well. But also not just because they have to, but because they want to.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I think. Coming from our dance background, it's a bit of you have to kind of check yourself sometimes because, we'd strip off in a corridor.
Well,
and if I need to
literally we're into the wings. I don't literally down to jock and wouldn't bat an eyelid. But also you go, oh, hang on, what about the crew? What about? We need to be much more aware. Yeah.
And so. Often, if I'm working on a project that I don't feel has had that level of care that I know is important based on the projects that I have been a part of where it wasn't there and how that made me feel, I don't want anyone to ever experience that. So if I'm in a scenario of a scene where that's included, I almost take it upon myself
to advocate,
to make sure that those are in place. And as soon as I realise that they are, I allow them to do the work.
Nice.
Whereas otherwise,
And do you think that's a more recent thing, or do you think you've always been like that, or do you think it's just been in that industry for over 10 years now, and you've worked on some very high profile shows, high profile shows. You've worked on some high profile shows. Do you feel that allows you then? You feel comfortable in that environment to be able to go. You may have a day player, an essay, or you see like. You're able to feel like you can speak up more freely?
I mean, it's always best to over-talk about it than it is to under-talk about it. Like, ask as many... Because technically you're always going to be right. There's not one person that's on set that's going to be able to go, look, can we, I know you have to get in bed with each other, but can we just be, you can never ask enough questions or make sure that everyone's comfortable and settled and just... Almost to kind of like gauge the the professionalism or the setup they have on set, but there is sometimes a quick agreement where, you know, me and Kieran working with each other, we've been working with each other for the duration of what we've been shooting so far. Or once I've been working on EastEnders for a long time, you know, there is just a thing where we don't have to discuss it every single time.
This is it. You become, for instance, you've got somebody who you're playing opposite as like your husband or your wife or your mum or your dad. It could be a relationship. It could be a lovely, beautiful, intimate moment between son and father, whatever it may be. Because intimacy is not sex. You know, intimacy can be on many shapes and forms. And you do get used to working with somebody on a daily basis. You're going in, you're doing a scene and you're working with them. And you do get used to them. But I always go, there's also, if you're on a 9-month tour or a long-running TV series, things happen in people's lives outside. So I think it's sometimes good to just check in. Yeah. Obviously, you're going to be checking if you're doing simulated sex scenes. You're going to be, all that will be choreographed and all of that. But I think it's always good to have that communication, just in case somebody's requirements or boundaries have changed. Because you know how many things. Also, you have a quick check-in because you know you're doing another kissing scene that day, and you might be in a show where you're kissing nearly every single day. But somebody can have a cold sore. All these things pop up. Someone's got a cold. All these little things.
Yeah, and I think I'm just like a big advocate for you know, decisions that you make from yourself, and like someone to have the right to feel uncomfortable if they do and speak about it and be treated with care and respect, you know, because you don't know what someone's been through. You don't know how someone feels genuinely during the scene unless they're given the right to have a private word that's offset, that's not like, because there is that thing with being a creative where, you know, it's such a fucking hard... Am I allowed to swear?
You can swear as much as you want, Jonny. No.
No.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram and also on the old Tickety Talk. If you don't want to see this face, but you just want to hear my gorgeous voice and grab some intimacy on the go, you can get the extended audio version by following the links below.
It's such a fucking hard business, and it's such a hard industry to live and survive, you know.
It is indeed.
So when you get put in those,
the hustle's real.
You know, like if you're an actor that's been out of work for, you know, many years as I have, despite all of those, you know, amazing shows and whatever, you get those times. If you've been out of work for a long time and they go, right, we've got this speaking role on, you know, Shadow and Bone or Game of Thrones or something. If you then turn around and they go, oh, by the way, it's an intimacy scene, you're going to be having sex in the scene. If you don't feel comfortable about that, but you've not been out of work and it's such an opportunity that you have to do it, it does create.
It's a power dynamic, push and pull, and
it
pulls.
And I've been in situations, sadly, that weren't as taken care of, or they were just glassed over, and it really does. You know, it can get weird, and people, unfortunately, although it's, you know, there's big movements with it and more light being shone on the care of these types of things.
Absolutely.
But there are still a lot of people that take advantage,
of course,
of creating a project, being in charge of it, casting who they want, doing all that sort of stuff. You know, keeping it low budget enough to, you know, and it's and that still sadly exists.
People ring fence.
But as long as there's people that have been a part of projects where they have had an intimacy director or they've had people that take care of that stuff, hopefully that precedent will carry them through. Because if I was involved on a set, having been and done Soft Lad and EastEnders and, you know, Hollyoaks now and various other projects with intimacy needed, if I felt like something was being disrespected or taken advantage of, like, I would shut it down.
Yeah, which is incredible, which is wonderful. But hopefully, if there's because of course an intimacy coordinator or director is not needed for every intimate scene. But you know, can depend on the how. If it's like, you know, if it's going into nudity, simulated sex, then absolutely. Yeah. But, you know, there may not be a intimacy director on a set for a pet, for instance. But when it gets heavy petting, heavy kissing, there really should be. But like you say, but there's a lot of situations still on tours, shows, film,
Yeah.
theatre, TV, that's not the case.
Well, the one time I was telling you, well, the intimacy director, it's like, this is to prove the point really, because I'm meant to be doing this kissing scene with this girl, and then like we like hit up against this bit, and then it's all very like, you know, very passionate. It was meant to be, and it was a really quick take. And I'm going to the, you know, because I knew that they were in the room, and I was sort of like having conversations, making sure I was including them with the person, if they felt okay and whatever. And this intimacy director was going, "Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Oh yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, like it's almost as if they were like enjoying,
like encouraging, like
I'm going. No, you're meant to be checking with that person if they're all right. You know.
So this was just like almost like.
Do you think it'll be okay if I? And they're going, yeah.
So hang on, I'm confused. So that wasn't choreographed by the interview. You're saying that was just you going for it. She was saying just go for it, yeah, or he, and it wasn't actually choreographed at all.
It was a very quick shot,
but not.
But it was a strange dynamic.
Oh my god, yeah, that's weird.
It was
Because I think there's an element of when I'm working on a scene and once I put all the boundaries in place and done all the check-ins, and then we choreograph it like literally like as if we're choreographing a tango. Once it's all in place, everybody knows the parameters where your hands are going, how long you're going to hold a kiss for, what level of touch, is it skin touch, is it muscle touch, is it bone touch? We talk about all these levels. Once that's all in place, then I go, okay, now go
Bone
for
touch.
Yeah, like that's moving more into like sexual violence, like where you're really holding somebody hard.
Oh God!
So
Right.
your skin touch is here, muscle touch, and then bone touch is when you're really going to
grab
the bone. Okay. So when you're talking about different levels of physical touch, but if it was sexual violence, then I would always dovetail with a stunt coordinator or a fight director.
Yeah.
You know, you need to dovetail with somebody on that. And if that was sounded like what you just told me, and it was really, really all over the place, then possibly should have been a stunt director there as well.
I've worked with a lot of stunt directors, and I, like I said, the reason why I drew that parallel, I'm working with I literally work with a stunt director like every week at the minute. It's amazing.
Because you're doing loads of fight scenes.
Because I'm in.
Because you're a thug.
I can't give anything away.
A pimped up thug.
Yeah, but it's very active, very like, you know, violent.
Which is great.
Which is so fun.
Being a movement practitioner, me being an embodied practitioner, because your whole career you're obviously an incredible dancer. And
I love it. I want to do, you know, John Wick shit.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go crazy.
Yeah,
but you know, there's this one scene which we did the other day, and I obviously can't mention who it is. And you know, someone in the scene is being strangled. And it did take, like, you know, I'd say 2.5 hours. If there wasn't that care put into that, someone's being strangled for 2 hours.
Yeah, like, and also incorrectly, and all these other things. So, yeah, it's important.
So there's safety, there's emotional,
physical,
and there's,
emotional.
Lawsuits. Really, I think those are the kind of the things.
Well, at the end of the day, you're at work. You're at work. You've got to be looked after.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't come home from work going, "Yeah, nearly lost my life today." You know, we've got, and also we shouldn't be going home from work going, and not being able to separate what happened from work and home.
Yeah, because you do get a bit of secondary trauma. You know, like I go home when I first started Hollyoaks. I remember having this beautiful family weekend. Just literally like the most fulfilling weekend with like drinking Aperol spritz, you know, all the rest of it. And then the next morning I'm getting pinned up against the wall by Jamie Lomas, like getting shouted at and stuff, which is so fun. I'm literally thinking like this is the best job in the world. But then I went home that night and I was staying in a hotel by myself and I was like, I need a glass of wine just to calm down. But similarly with
that though, you say there, what process do you have about de-rolling? Like what, you know, getting into character, going into that place where is heightened awareness, heightened physicality, heightened emotions. Yeah. What do you do then? This is, you know, when you do stop the day of work, do you have any process to go, I'm now de-rolling, stepping out of character?
Breath work is really important.
Yep.
Would always do, I'm a part of an actor's repertoire and we do quite a lot of breath work as like preparing. It's called MC2. And Mario does some beautiful breath work and like really makes it like a really serious serious, like probably the most serious exercise to take care of is literally just breathing.
Yes.
But being walked through the process of breathing, because you have to be
Being
able
present.
you have to be able to like grayscale, land, earth, you know, just sort of like neutralize yourself as much as possible in coming into the character as much as you do coming out of it. So you like do the breath work, you prepare for it, you then put your costume on, and then you go through the process of the lines and the scripts and the character and the walk and everything, and then you're the character, and then whatever happens in that moment, you're still yourself. You know, I'm not a method actor, but I'd like to try it one day. But then stepping out of it, it's a case of just basically, it's like, I don't know, it's like putting on an astronaut suit, I guess.
Okay, I like that. That's nice.
Like, you have to put on the suit before you go out, and then you just take it off, you put on your own clothes, and then you come back in.
Yeah, every director I speak to, you don't
put on the suit, you just drift away.
And this is it. I like that. It's lovely. Every actor I speak to has a slightly different process. Some people, it's about their character, if they're playing a long running character, wears a certain aftershave. So when they finish, they shower and that goes off. They only wear that as that character, and it's when they take their makeup off or when they step out of the costume. Everybody has a different process, but I do really think it's important, especially when you're going to somewhere that can be physically and mentally challenging, and you have to go there, that you do have some form of way of self-care, looking after yourself, and ensuring that because at the end of the day, when you're acting, you have to go there, and at the end of the day, when you're going home, it's about separating the professional and the private, and making sure we can go back to our private lives, and it not to trickle into that.
And it's not easy. That's always assuming that happens one way and the other, you know, like that the character's the one to traumatize you, but actually sometimes it's the other way around. You know, there's something called Dr. Theatre, they call it, where, you know, I remember being so ill during Barefoot in the Park, and I'm on for like the most of the play, and I was so ill, and I think I was hungover, probably, maybe.
I think
probably. I was probably hungover.
I think I was maybe-ish.
No, I remember I was so much cold. I don't even know if I had COVID or whatever it was.
Could have been a combination.
It could have been a combination of all the things. And stepping onto the stage, doing a character where I'm together, I'm playing an American lawyer. I come in, I got my wife there. I come in from a day at the office, get on with life, and then it all just trickles into hilarity. But I got to the end of the play and I was absolutely fine. Like I'd been cured. Like I'd stepped into someone else's shoes.
Isn't that funny?
Which cheered me up, you know? So sometimes it does work the other way around as well, which is quite nice.
That's incredible. Jonny Labey, thank you so much for coming to Intimacy 360. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure having you here today.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you, love.
Thank you.
Hey. Hey, lovely people. Make sure you subscribe and like and press that notification bell to keep up to date with all future episodes.